There's fun in learning around the bend. You could even do it with your best friend. If there's science stuff that you like to know, come watch Allie and Coco's Science Show.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Allie and Coco's Science Show. I've always watched people's 2019 favorite videos, and I've always wanted to do one. Now, I don't use a lot of products or anything, but I thought I'd just share some of my favorite science-related, waste-free related, and Allie-related favorites of the year 2019. First things first, every time I take my lunch to work, I bring my own silverware. You don't need any special fancy silverware. You don't have to buy anything new. You can just use what you already have. And these silverwares, long story short, sometimes I go dumpster diving, whatever. But these were in a box, completely wrapped up. I deemed it safe. I took it. So I got all the silverware for free, saved it from the landfill, and now I use it in my lunch every day. So you don't have to get anything fancy. You can just go to the dumpster, apparently. I recently acquired from a conference the leftover pouch and bamboo silverware. Isn't that cool? With chopsticks. So this will be a very convenient pouch. Or I'll probably just continue to bring these to my lunch and these when I go out places. Also in my lunch, I always bring my own cloth napkin. I don't just put a paper napkin in because, wow, why waste it when I can just use my cloth one that I have at home? Just a cotton napkin, no big deal. I wrap my apple in it so you don't have to buy fancy expensive beeswax wraps, or you can just use what you already have. Speaking of using what you already have, I use this lunchbox every day. It's better than a paper bag, but it's definitely old. Get you some lunchbox. You can even go to a thrift store and go find something cool to use. Get yourself a hard shell metal lunchbox. Wow. Let's move on to the bathroom. This is my Lucky Teeth dental floss. I've had the jar. This is year 2 now, but I've refilled it. And I'm actually waiting on refill since this is my last little bit of dental floss. And they always send it in paper, so I love them. Also, this doesn't look like much. It's just a bag, but inside the bag are my reusable feminine products. You're not gonna see them, but I use Luna pads. So if you're looking for reusable items, there's tons of options out there now. There's Thinx, there's the Diva Cup, there's smaller brands that are also great, or a lot of people I've seen make their own. So whatever you want to do, get crafty or whatever. This gets into one of my regrets. So I have loved using the grandpa soap. I made a whole video about that. So I love the grandpa soap, and I just rinse with dilute apple cider vinegar. I went with my mom, hey mom, to Lush, and she got me conditioner bar, and this is a bar of shampoo, conditioner, and a body butter scrub. They all smell amazing. They're waste-free, smell amazing. However, and I had known Lush to be very anti-zoo in the past. However, after buying these, I did more research and found that they pulled funding from a Lori conservation group because the Lori conservation group accepted money from a zoo. So I will no longer be supporting Lush because it's do you want to help animals or do you want to be ignorant? Sorry, it's the truth. Now you can hate zoos, that's fine. We can have different opinions. I, for one, support zoos that are good zoos, provide lots of enrichment for their animals, education to the public, and conservation to the world. And if you are really anti-zoo to the point where you're going to pull money and pull funding from an endangered species and their conservation efforts just because they accepted money from someone you don't like, you know what? That's kind of terrible. I'm sorry. It is. I'm not gonna go throw these bars of soaps in the trash because that's wasteful, but it's just a good lesson. Always do your research before you buy and support a company. Moving on, another waste-free thing. Oh, that's my dental floss. That's my floss. You know how mommy does that? Yeah. So another waste-free thing is my neighborhood has like a little library. Have you ever seen those? They're adorable, and if you have books that you need to get rid of, make sure they're going to a good home or doing something cool with them. But I got Milk and Honey, which I've always wanted to read, book of poems, and The Alchemist, another book I really want to read and was suggested for me the day I found the little library and saw The Alchemist in there. It's fate, guys. You know what? Let's just segue into my science books. Not a textbook. Don't get scared, guys. I like to read. So I read a lot of books this year. And one thing I read them on is my Kindle. Now, Kindle is owned by Amazon. I have very strong feelings about Amazon as well. Not many of them are positive. But I do have a Kindle that I got like almost 10 years ago, and it doesn't use a lot of energy. I've charged it like a few times this year, but I'm always reading it. And I have it hooked up to my library so I can get ebooks for free. Which is awesome. Make sure you're either going to an actual library, or if you do have an e-reader of some kind, make sure you are downloading books from your library. There are other resources out there that can help you do that. I also read a bunch of science books. The first one I read was A Sting in the Tail. I've had it on my shelf for a while and I finally got to reading it. But this is A Sting in the Tail by Dave Goulson. And so it follows kind of his story growing up in England as a little boy and looking at bugs and bees and how the bees and conservation has changed as human land use changes. So pretty great book. And he wrote another one called A Buzz in the Meadow, so I want to read that one as well. I also read Unstoppable. I really think they should have called it Unstoppabill. Unstoppable by Bill Nye. It's all about climate change and how basically taking everything you need to know about energy. It's mostly energy use. Energy use and pros and cons, his steps to greening his house. So it's a little bit like you could, if you own a house, you could take this information and apply it to your own life. My favorite chapter was actually about NASCAR. And perhaps my favorite book, and maybe my favorite purchase this year, was Women in Science by Rachel Ignatovsky. It is beautiful. It highlights a different woman in science. Let's turn to a random page. This will be my fate. Ooh, Mary Anning, a fossil collector and paleontologist. Oh, look, Coco, her dog Trey, look at this, came with her on fossil digs until he died in a landslide. Oh. Anyway, guys, the art is really great. It tells the stories of many women in science doing their thing. Some of them are like really sad because men wouldn't fund them or give them an office, so they had like a shack under the stairs and they had to do all their research under there, but they did and they won prizes for it. Anyway, if you have any budding scientists in your life, especially girls, but also you should be teaching young boys about all the badass ladies in science. Look at these badass ladies. Anyway, this book is amazing and I highly recommend it. And look, you can learn all the tools for the lab, goggles, always. And just to kind of segue us into 2020, my next book is going to be Silent Spring by Rachel Carson. So if you guys want to read along with me, like a little book club. Okay, a couple more things that I love in science. A few apps. So one is iNaturalist. And now iNaturalist is cool. Basically, if you're out hiking and you see something, you can take a picture of it and ask, what the heck is this? And people can identify it for you. However, they have a second app called Seek, and it's actually pretty good at identifying things, especially you can like kind of scan and see what something is. You win badges. It's basically like Pokemon Go mixed with nature. The coolest thing is that scientists get all these pictures, your location, the data that you provide, and they can use it in research. So you guys are helping scientists if you're using these iNaturalist apps. There's also another app called One Tree, One Planet. You can kind of challenge yourself to be more green, so waste-free, eating organic or local, things like that. So I highly recommend checking those apps out, and I'll leave links below just for everyone's sake. Moving on to science in the news. Now, a lot of these news stories aren't my favorite, like the Amazon burning, California wildfires, and also right now that we're dealing with is the Australia wildfires. They're terrible. I think I saw a statistic, 500 million animals have died in the Amazon bushfires. So I'm gonna leave some links for you guys to donate if you have the time or the money. One news story that I really liked was that this girl who was sending nudes to people who showed that they donated. Long story short, through her tireless efforts, she had over $1 million donated to these Australia wildfires. Also, there's this pumice stone that is floating near Australia. With the right conditions, it could replenish the Great Barrier Reef. It doesn't mean like, oh cool, let's just go drive our yachts through the Great Barrier Reef, no big deal again. I think we should still err on the side of caution, but that is a good little bit of hope. And also, in the science news, ladies in science. So first there's Dr. Katie Bowman. She's the one who took the first photo of the black hole. She's amazing. Also, our little climate change activist. So of course everyone knows Greta Thunberg, but there's more. My other two lovely faves are Autumn Peltier and Artemisa, I think it's Zakriaba. She's fighting for the Amazon and she's also badass. I wish none of these little teen babies had to do that, but they are, and you should be fighting too. Okay, now let's get into a few miscellaneous things. Number one, my favorite website this year is probably Budget Bites. I meal prep a lot, which saves on waste and saves on time. Budget Bites has a lot of great recipes, including vegan and vegetarian, so really easy to search for things. Also, some are healthy, some are not, so. I also, for search engine, Ecosia. The cool thing about Ecosia is they're not just like planting a bunch of trees and moving on. They actually work with NGOs in different places around the world to plant the plants that are right for that area. So I really like that. I think it takes like 30 searches to plant a tree, but honestly, if you're using Google for those searches, you might as well plant a tree while you're doing it and use Ecosia. Also, movies. My two favorite movies this year were Knives Out and Booksmart. Don't talk to me about Star Wars. We're not gonna get into that. But Knives Out and Booksmart are great. And my favorite album this year is the Lover album, because you know I love my girl T Swift. A couple of honorable mentions before we peace out here. My favorite repurposed item is this. This is an old candle container that I put a new candle in. I made a new candle. And my favorite, just all around household item is Kirk's, Kirk's Castile soap. This is the best kind. Skip Dr. Bronner's. The Dr. Bronner soap makes a gelatinous mess. However, Kirk's is awesome. And their website now has all these recipes for like dish soap, hand soap, laundry detergent, dry detergent, everything you need in your house that can be done with a simple bar soap wrapped in paper. I'll leave a link for that too. So, usually at the end of my videos, I have a question of the day or question of the week where I ask you guys a question and you guys answer in the comments. However, due to COPA's regulations, my videos are marked as for kids, because they're for a general audience and they have something that appeals to kids in them, such as DIY projects and animals or dogs. Yeah, you made my video. So instead, I think what I'm gonna do is I'll call them actions of the day. I'm gonna have like a challenge for you guys to go out in the world and do something good for yourself, for the planet, for someone else. You gotta hold yourself accountable, but I think today's action of the day is going to be look around your house and find one item that is single use, paper, plastic, what have you. Whatever day you're watching this, pick one item in your house and replace it with something that is not single use. For example, I have tissues in my house. I'm not gonna throw out my whole box of tissues, but I am going to get a hanky so that I can have reusable boogie rags. So look around your house. Maybe it's paper plates. Maybe it's plastic silverware. Something. It can be anything. So pick something in your house that is single use and just replace that one item. And you don't have to do anything crazy or expensive. You don't have to get extravagant plates or anything. You can even check out a thrift shop and find something there. So find that one item that is single use and make a change today. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button if you learned something new, if you like sniffy puppies. And Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to follow us for more adventures, and ring that notification bell to be notified for any other videos we put out. And we will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Spot? No, you gotta come over here. You gotta spot. You gotta spot. You gotta scoot your booty. There you go.